So, EA got sold and Simmers are absolutely furious. Now, I know this isn't news anymore, I'm a bit late, but I think it's still something worth talking about with everything going on, everyone freaking out. I've looked into all the facts and considered some possibilities for the future of the company and The Sims specifically that you might want to stick around for. I also feel like there are some things being brushed under the rug within the community, something nobody really wants to address that we should be talking about. But before I get into all of it, let's look at what actually happened. This quote is from CNBC. Electronic Arts said Monday that it has agreed to be acquired by the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners in an all-cash deal worth $55 billion. Shareholders of the company will receive $210 per share in cash. EA stock climbed 4.5% on Monday. Shares gained about 15% on Friday, closing at $193.35 after the Wall Street Journal reported that the company was nearing a deal to go private. Upon hearing this, as anyone could guess, people lost it. And for a good reason. The Sims community is very diverse and woke, which is not something you can say about Saudi Arabia, a government that executes and imprisons people for being gay or for fighting for women's rights is not something most people would want to support, especially not a community like Simmers. So naturally, people took to the internet. Also, Affinity Partners CEO is Jared Kushner, as in Trump's son-in-law, but because I'm not American, I won't be getting into that mess of politics. I just wanted to mention that that is also something people have a problem with.
EA was just bought by a Saudi Arabian investment fund, and I'm terrified.
The Sims was just sold for $55 billion. EA hit the motherlode cheat code and decided to sell their entire company, including The Sims, to Saudi Arabia's PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners, which is with Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law. You might be asking, why the hell is this happening? I won't go into all the details, but let's break down what this may mean for the future of The Sims and EA. Three very specific things. EA probably has taken on a lot of debt, and this means that there's likely going to be a lot of short-term transactions happening to boost money. So long-term projects like Cough Cough Project Renee may not be around as much, and you'll see a whole hell of a lot more packs and game kits and everything else in between to make it work. I won't get into the details of Saudi Arabia and its treatment of LGBTQIA+ people. I think we all are kind of aware of what's currently going on there and how they are on literally the Human Rights Watch campaign. But all we have to know is, for a company like The Sims that is forward-thinking and super presents itself as LGBTQIA+ centric, personally, I'm worried what's going to happen with what The Sims is and what it's going to eventually become. I don't know what this all means, but all I know is I hate this goddamn timeline. I'm sick of it. I thought Sims was a great escape for me, and I'm worried that I'm just gonna have to have an even longer break now. What do you think about this news?
Okay, so big news. EA and The Sims 4 just sold to a Saudi Arabian company for $55 billion. And what does this mean for our favorite cozy sandbox game? Well, in my opinion, we might see new monetization strategies sneak in, like more paid packs, microtransactions, or subscription models. Not to mention what might happen to modding. But I hope this means there's a chance for fresh investment, better updates, new worlds, more stable servers. But the risk is that the aesthetic and tone shift toward more maximizing profit over integrity. And as fans, we should stay vocal, support content you like, criticize what feels greedy, and keep demanding the softness and freedom that made The Sims 4 feel like home.
But it's not just your average simmer, it's also influencers such as Lil Simsy that are speaking out. But before we get into what this really means for The Sims, and I'll have timestamps for the description if you want to jump around, let's first look at what this means for EA as a whole. The deal will close in the first quarter of fiscal 2027. A lot of people misunderstood this and are saying we have until 2027 to enjoy EA and The Sims before it gets sold to a Saudi Arabian company. But what this really means is that the deal will be closed in the second quarter of 2026, so next year. The wording is a bit confusing, but this is happening sooner than what a lot of people are saying and expecting. This change will make it so that EA becomes a private company, meaning the company shares are not traded publicly, but instead owned by a group of private investors. This could actually be good news for EA games. I'll try to stay positive throughout the video because there's a lot of chaos going on and I want to give a bit of hope to all of us and to everyone panicking a little bit as to what this could mean for both EA and The Sims. But why is this good for the company? A private company does not have to disclose financial information to the public. What does that really mean? So I study accounting at university, so I'll try to explain it in a simple way, but I do want to say I'm not a professional or anything. This is all information you can find with a simple Google search too. Limited liability companies are companies owned by multiple investors where each owner's ownership and liability goes as far as what they invested. Electronic Arts is a company like this. For public companies, shares are publicly traded, meaning any one of us can buy them. These companies have to share their financial statements with the public. You can look up any public company and you'll most likely find their financial statements for each year, or at least 1 year. These statements are not only regulated, but are also made to be easily understood by not just banks, but by investors and potential investors as well. The problem with this, however, is that the more regularly they have to do these reports, the more they are focused on short-term profit to appease investors. For example, with The Sims, we might get buggy messes called packs that are heavily marketed as the next best thing, so more people buy it once it comes out, but it adds nothing to the long-term success or vision of the game, and in some cases does damage to it. Going private means no more public reporting, meaning the company can focus on long-term success rather than short-term. This could mean bug fixes for The Sims and actually meaningful updates. As I've said before, there's something that a lot of people are not discussing, which is that the PIF already owned 10% of Electronic Arts. Why is that important? Well, for one, we've already been financially supporting Saudi Arabia by purchasing packs for The Sims 4 or anything, any game from EA. In fact, they also have shares in other companies such as Ubisoft, Nintendo, etc. I think it's not being discussed because no one in the community really wants to face the fact that they've unknowingly supported an oppressive government in the past. But I also think some people might not know what it means or what role investors have other than giving money to a company and getting some back in return. Investors also appoint management. Management makes decisions. Management sets goals, creates plans, and takes the steps to execute those plans. So investors have a lot more of a say than what's been discussed in the community before. Although these decisions investors make are based on numbers, which leads me to believe that they know the Sims franchise being woke works and will keep working for them. So in my opinion, they probably won't be lowering the diversity in the game or taking away the diversity, and if they do, they're not good at business. So what's next for the Sims franchise? I've done some quick analyses. I've thought a lot and come up with a few ideas, but it's a bit difficult to predict since one, I don't have any information about what's going on within the company, and two, well, I already told you, I'm just a student working towards a business degree. I'm no professional. But I still have a few ideas as to the general directions they could go. The first step in creating a business plan is analyzing the business with 4 aspects: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. First, the strengths. The Sims is an already pre-existing and established franchise that doesn't need any introduction. The game has a very loyal fan base. They have an experienced team working for them. They're partners with influencers with millions of followers. And lastly, the game makes a good amount of money for them. It's not their biggest cash cow, but it is still profitable. Second, the weaknesses. The game is incredibly buggy, and more people are fortunately criticizing the game for it. I mean, it's bad, like really bad. I don't even think we need to find any more weaknesses. This by itself is enough to ruin any game. It's a miracle that The Sims 4 is still well and alive despite all of these issues. Third, opportunities. I mean, there aren't a lot of games like The Sims The entire life sim market is their opportunity. But the most current thing is their threats. People don't want to support the new owners. People are looking for ways to pirate packs as an attempt to boycott EA. Influencers are torn between their morals and livelihoods. I mean, not everyone can successfully transition into a different genre, but at the same time, come on. Be consistent with the morals you present us. This is more towards the influencers who promote the game and those who promoted the new pack even after making posts about how upsetting this change is and after presenting us a certain moral ground that they have, not necessarily towards creators who make Sims content to either criticize the game or those who haven't displayed a moral standing before that would make this contradictory. So just to clarify, I just looked back on my script and I realized that I didn't phrase things exactly how I wanted to. I don't think people who make Sims content necessarily need to stop. There are creators who have presented themselves as virtuous with certain past comments, like with the whole Hogwarts Legacy thing when it came out. A lot of Simmers bullied people for playing the game. There were Sims content creators talking about it and making comments about how they think that playing the game is inherently bad or shows bad character, stuff like that. I don't know, it happened years ago. I just remember Simmers having strong opinions on that whole thing. I think it's contradictory if they keep working with EA and actively promoting packs once the deal is closed. I know no one can be an ethical consumer. I'm specifically talking about creators who may or may not be performative with their activism. Just playing the game or continuing to play the game, I don't think is bad. I think everyone has the right to play the game if they want to. But yeah, with the whole, performative thing, seeing who is consistent with their morals and who isn't, we'll only see that once the deal is closed next year. So yeah, I just wanted to add that and clarify. However, I don't think people will actually stop playing the game. Many players have spent hours and hundreds of dollars on this game. I think the average player boycotting will still play, but either won't buy more packs or will pirate them. So what can EA do? The first route is to keep things the way they are. Keep the diversity and the staff, even if it goes against what Saudi Arabia believes. The game is already banned there, and not making drastic changes would keep the money flowing in. And at the end of the day, money is probably what they care about. The thing they could work on though is the long-term vision of the game and bug fixes, which could prove to be profitable for them long-term. Unless of course everyone who says they'll boycott actually follows up on that. I just hope they won't rush things for quick profit to pay off their huge debt. I mean, that could seriously damage Project Renee or any upcoming Sims packs and updates. Some people also have concerns about the use of AI, which I honestly hope won't happen. It would also be really bad for them, business-wise, because although they would be cutting costs by using AI instead of real artists, it is a terrible decision PR-wise and would definitely impact their income because Simmers don't appreciate AI usage in games. We've already seen this with Inzoi. To this day, Inzoi keeps getting criticized by Simmers for their AI usage. 2. They completely changed the game and toned down diversity. And I don't think that even if they choose this route that they'll go back and remove features from previous packs and updates. I think this would mostly affect future features. This is probably the worst option for them and will 100% kill the game. Thirdly, they could honestly just sell the franchise. It's not their biggest cash cow, and they could put the money they get from selling it into paying off their debt or into other games. They will already probably be cutting back on games and making decisions about which one is worth updating and which franchises are worth continuing. So selling a few games or a few franchises is probably something that they will be doing anyways. So all in all, I don't think that this is the end of The Sims. People are very loyal to this game franchise, and I think it would be a waste for this company, for these new owners to completely ruin it. If they're smart, they'll take into consideration what people are saying, what the opinions going around currently are, and will make their next move based on that. So I'm back. I know I was away for a while, but university has really been kicking my ass lately. I hope to keep making videos for you guys, and not just about topics like this, but hopefully about more positive things as well. I would love to know your opinion about the topic we've discussed today, and yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.